after that, we had another email from Tom in Dartford that said, do something that scares you. And as the Tate Modern was crap, we thought, well, let's go to the London Dungeon. Now, who found the London Dungeon scary? I don't know if you've been at home, and email us in if you've been on russell.6music@bbc.co.uk, or text us on 64046. It was terrifying, I found. It was because we got into a lot of situations where basically I was made to look like a fool. We got there at the beginning, and the actors, basically if you've not been, there's these kind of actors that are getting paid pittance. They're RADA trained, and they go, "Welcome to the London Dungeon. I'm Manky Old Sue. I run the pie shop." And you kind of sit around, and when you're sort of being given one of those presentations by somebody, if you're with friends, then if you're like me, what you think is, well, I'll tickle John's bum. Right, then he'll start giggling. It's like school assembly, and then he'll get told off and made to sit in the corner. But it got off to a bad start because some woman's like, "Oh, the woe of it all." So I tickled John's bum. He turned around and cuffed me right in the gonads, and I went, "Nyah." The noise came from, when you're properly kicked in the skronks, and "Nyah." So that was 1-0 John. And then we went to the next bit where, remember that torture section?
Yeah,
superb.
We went there, and he said, "Right, I need a volunteer. I'm going to show you how I torture people." And so I pushed John, and he went, "Oh, we have a volunteer." And in my head I'm going, "Yes, John's going to get done." And then he grabbed me and put me down the front. And you were taking photos of this, weren't you, at this point?
I've got a full document.
Now, I haven't told you, but I was absolutely terrified, because basically he pulls out a knife and stuff, like, goes, "Now, can we guess where this goes?" Right? And all the people watching, I know what's going to happen, and people started shouting out, "Cut his throat," and stuff like that, and I'm sort of sat there, and they're like...
You weren't getting on too well with the group,
it was unbelievable. So, because I'd earlier made noise, now they're like, "Cut his throat."
Do him!
Yeah, exactly. Pee on his eyes. Don't do that. But the horrible thing is, you're sort of sat there, because he sort of said, we stick his tongue out, we chop his tongue off, and then we feed the tongue back to him. People are like, "Yeah, feed him his tongue." And then, when he turned to me and went, "Turn around." And then I had to face against the wall, and he pulled out this stick with a blade on the end, and then went, "Can anyone else guess where this goes?" And at that point, I think I smelt whiskey on his breath. I was absolutely... At that point, you kind of think, well, what if he snaps? What if this is the moment when, he sort of he's had enough, he's a RADA-trained actor, he could be doing, films, he could be on the stage, and he suddenly thinks, "I'm going to kill this bloke, I'm going to put this stick right up his jacksie." And, it would have been good for the show, but very awkward. I was terrified. And then, so that's 2-0, John, and then right at the end, do you remember that? And Sam tapped me on the back. We're walking around in the dark, and Sam taps me on the back and went, "Look at this." I turn around, there's a 60-year-old man, right? 60-year-old man, just staring at me. And then he just went, "Hello." So I went, "Jesus Christ." And he was like, "No, I'm Gribble." I don't even think he worked there. It was just some creepy old man who wanders around London Dungeon, calls himself Gribble, gets his cock out occasionally, claims to be one of the rides.
There was an old man who used to work there who died 20 years ago.
But see, that's the thing. If you killed yourself, nobody would pay any attention, because it has to be grim. If you kind of slit your throat and go, "I've had enough," people are like, "Oh, very good, very good."
There was it was a juxtaposition, I wasn't there, because I couldn't really get into it, because you're walking around following people who all talk a little bit like Russell Brand, let's be honest. Follow me down here, this is where everyone got killed, right? And then... down the stairs, there's a Stanner chairlift for people
that was
need
great.
help getting down the stairs. Which, don't get me wrong, if they'd had them in medieval times, it would have been a right-on society, but I don't think they did.
Dame Thora doing medieval. "You may be struggling with the stairs, I know I am." Did you enjoy it, Sam?
It was fantastic, absolutely amazing.
What was your favourite bit?
I think it's the ride that terrified you two.
Oh yeah, we've actually we're going to put them on the. Have you got the email? Yeah. If you want to have a look at how. Oh no, that's a different thing. I've just been past. But you've got the email address where we've got a photo of John looking like a terrified mouse.
Are we giving this out for general access? We don't want to crash the website.
We'll
put them on the website. We'll put them on the.
Yeah, let's do that. We've got some photos taken of me looking like I'm melting, and John looking terrified.
I don't remember being scared. I really don't remember being scared. And when you look at the photo and you think, "I wasn't scared," and then you look at that and you think, "Well,
it's so lovely."
I must have been a little bit scared.
But your face is so wonderful at that.
It's horrible.
But you look absolutely terrified. It's fantastic. Anyways, more of that later. So yeah.